big up. Is this your Clarity?
Yeah.
It's DJ Paradise from the UK. Someone recommended me to you for a custom dubplate that I'm trying to get for a wedding. Is this something you can do for me?
Yeah, man.
This song is a hit. I know a hit when I hear one.
Royal girl with quality. You're very royal with the equality.
Okay, JC Lodge, welcome to World Music Views.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice to have you. You've been in the business for how long now?
44 years.
How did you start? How did you start? Just give us a run back. My name is J.R. Watkis, by the way.
J.R. Watkis.
Yes.
Oh, hi, J.R. Yeah. How did I start? Well, I guess it really started from meeting a man called Errol O'Mealy, who liked writing, and songwriting was one of the aspects of his writing. And I really liked what he came up with, and he heard me singing and just thought that I would be a good candidate to put his songs on audio cassettes at the time. You know, we weren't in the music business at all. We were both just young people fresh out of school. And so I learned these songs that he had written. He banged out a rhythm on a tabletop, and then I bounced some harmonies onto the songs. And we thought they sounded good enough to shop them around in Jamaica in the music business, but we didn't have a lot of contacts because we weren't in the business. But eventually, through Allah, who is a keyboardist from the group Chalice, which is Wayne Allman's group, through him, it eventually ended up at Joe Gibbs' studio. And then it took quite a few months, before it got into the hands of Errol Thompson, who was Joe Gibbs' chief engineer. And then they, having listened to those songs, they became interested in the singer, you know, which was me, and said that they wanted to do something with me. So that's how it started, which was a surprise to us because that wasn't the intention.
And when you were coming in the business, were there a lot of women?
No, there weren't a lot at all. No. And when we were approached, I think it was mainly to do cover songs at the time. You know, there are a few women who did some originals, but not very many. And very, very few of us on live performances. So that's just how it was.
Yeah. And was it challenging? Like, what are some of the challenges you faced as a woman? And we soon get into your major hit, but before the hit, did you face any challenges with producers, artists, you know, the general business?
Yeah, well, I think, as I've said recently, I still maintain that women are still seen as second-class citizens. We're not treated in the same way. We're not given the same exposure, neither on radio nor on live shows, you know, and the same in the studio. It's harder, I think, sometimes to get a producer interested in working with you. They're mostly into men, even though Jamaican males profess to be lovers of women. You know, but when it comes on to recording and shows, that they run down the man them.
And then you got your major breakthrough with Someone Loves You Honey with Prince Muhammad, aka George Nooks. Can you tell me from your perspective how that song came about?
Well, so the first thing was the cassettes, which, you know, they had liked some of the songs, but the first song that they asked me to sing was Do That To Me One More Time, which was a cover song by Captain and Tennille. I think they used that to test the waters with me because I don't think I sounded like anybody that they'd worked with before, and they weren't sure. And then they must have felt confident enough after that to approach me with the song Someone Loves You Honey, which was already known in Jamaica by having been sung by Charlie Pride, written by Don Devine. So, I think my heart wouldn't have been into that 100% because we were really, Errol and myself were really focused on our own songs, and getting a breakthrough with those, having somebody in the industry record one of them. But anyway, they said they wanted me to sing this song. So I gave it my best shot. I was very nervous and asked to work in the dark, to record in the dark. But it finally turned out quite well, and unexpectedly topped all the charts in Jamaica, and then went overseas and did quite well as well.
So usually a song leaves Jamaica and it does well in the UK, but this song particularly did well in the Netherlands. What made that jump over from the UK to a Dutch?
I think it could have been the novelty of it. I mean, I don't know if Jamaicans heard the Prince Mohammed version that much. I think they heard mostly the one with just myself alone on it. But in Holland, that duet was picked up by a Dutch, I think he was a DJ. Anyway, so he introduced it to the area, and then through playing it, it just became popular. And we didn't know anything about it until Joe Gibbs was summoned over there to speak with the distributors, and then they asked for the artists. And unfortunately, Joe didn't contact Prince Mohammed, or he couldn't locate him in some way. I don't know what happened, but Prince Mohammed, we think it could have been deliberate, but we ended up going with Joe to meet these distributors at that time. This is about 1981, 82. And that's when we found out that this song was creating waves there, and it became Record of the Year that year, and we earned a gold and platinum disc from the Netherlands. But saying that, you mentioned the UK, and I must say that it was doing very well in the UK, but in the ethnic market. And my dad was living in the UK at that time. He'd been there from the 50s. And he said to me, you need to come over here because this song is doing well. You need to come and support it. And I said, but Dad, it's not for us to do that. The record company would have to be behind it and, help us with the promotion. It's not for me, the artist who's just inexperienced and just coming up in the business. I wouldn't have been able to do that, But Joe didn't organize that. So that song didn't get the support it should have had in the UK, or I feel it could definitely have been a huge success here.
In hindsight, would you have gone by yourself? Like, knowing what you know now, would you have just gone?
We couldn't have. We were just two youngsters, just fresh out of school. There's no way we could have done that. And we had no contacts with anyone in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a different time where you had to go door to door.
It was a different time. I mean, computers weren't around. That's why we didn't know what was happening outside of Jamaica. Unless somebody had been somewhere and come back and told you. You didn't know what a song might be doing outside,
But you're from the UK, right?
I was born in the UK. I grew with my dad until I was 10. And then he took me to his family in Jamaica. And I lived there for 33 years. So I always feel more Jamaican than UK. But my mother is English.
Why, even with the success of that song, how come you didn't do another song with Prince Mohammed or George Nooks?
Because we weren't the producers. I was just an artist. I was young, inexperienced, as I said, had no intention of being in the music business as such. So, sorry. Yeah. So, so it wasn't in my hands at all. If you can imagine somebody just leaving high school, just starting a first job, nothing special, no special kind of job, and then getting thrust into the music business. We had no funding or anything like that, no connections. But just to talk about, the progress since then, I've done 14 albums since that time. And we've been working with so many top musicians, top producers, Clive Hunt being one of them. And, we've had a very interesting journey to bring us to this point, and
No,
the
we're
current.
definitely gonna get into your entire catalog. I have a list of musical points to touch on, but I just
Yeah,
want to wrap up your biggest hit globally. Someone Loves You, Honey.
yeah.
That that song brought you all over the world, right? Where are some of the interesting places you've been to perform
Oh,
it?
it still is taking me all over the world. It's not ended, you know. So we didn't collect much from Joe Gibbs, but in terms of that song's longevity, it's still going on, and we're still traveling, and people are still loving it all over. So the last places we've been have been Brazil, and on the west coast of the United States, we discovered we have a Polynesian fan base. We've been to Japan multiple times, you know, Canada, most of the Caribbean, you know, traveled far and wide.
Why you think a song made 44 years ago
Yes,
is still important today? 42 years
44 because it was 1980 it
ago.
came out.
Okay.
Yes,
But
yeah,
it broke out 82.
yeah, in the Netherlands. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
why you think a song made that long, especially in a tumultuous time in Jamaica, might I add, because I said
yeah.
1980 was a rough time, and why it still resonate with people today?
Well, for Jamaicans, I know there's a lot of nostalgia because they were hearing it at that time and it made an impact in their lives at that time. It's like become part of their DNA in some way, you know? So when I read comments online, you see things like, oh, you know, my mother used to play this every Saturday when we were cleaning the house or whatever, you know? So it's got that nostalgia aspect for Caribbean people, not just Jamaican. But there are new people who are hearing it, who are loving it. I really can't say. Is it the message? Is it the melody, the beat, or a combination of all? I don't know.
Mhm. I want to also talk about Telephone Love with Shabba Ranks, right?
Yes.
Big tune, dancehall song. So you went from being a balladeer with Someone Love You, Honey to dancehall, hardcore dancehall. And I remember Telephone Love had a lovely music video at the time. Telephones were just coming into Jamaica, and everybody had a telephone lover. How you got to work with Shabba Ranks, and how was that? How did that song come about from your perspective?
Well, actually, I recorded that song solo. I didn't record with Shabba. Shabba was put on a version of it. So I wasn't in the studio when Gussie brought Shabba in to work on it, you know. So, and the, I can't hear what you're saying. Yeah. So yeah, this is what I'm saying, that it's not actually something that we worked on together, but I love what Shabba did on the track. That version is also good.
Mhm. Have you ever performed it with him?
Yes, I have on a few of yeah, on his shows. He has brought me up on his shows sometimes to do an appearance with him.
Okay. Okay. And that song, did it hit the Billboard chart? What was the performance of that?
I don't think
But it
it.
definitely topped the charts in Jamaica at the time, the airplay.
Yes, it topped the charts in Jamaica, but it was also a very the Black Americans were really into it, so it was an urban success in America,
Mhm.
especially on the East Coast.
Would you say you are a pioneer in Jamaican music? No.
Would I say I'm a pioneer?
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't say it, but people have said that Telephone Love was a breakthrough um, happening for dancehall because before that, uh, dancehall was seen as an ethnic music, and Black Americans hadn't really gotten into it. But for some reason, they feel like Telephone Love kind of crossed that barrier for them because it had a what they consider to be an R&B, you know, aspect to it. So I've been told that this tune helped to cross to make Black Americans aware of dancehall and start loving it. And then Someone Loves You, Honey, I guess, was also a breakthrough song because it was seen as a country and western reggae, and I don't know if there was that much success for songs of that ilk at the time. And yeah, so in a way that broke some barriers too.
Someone Loves You Honey actually hit number 95 on the R&B chart, Billboard.
Did it?
Yep.
That's news to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the R&B, Someone Loves You Honey.
Yeah, and you also hit number 45 with Home Is Where the Heart Is.
I know that one. Home Is Where the Heart Is. I know that. I wrote that one. So I know about that, but I didn't know of Someone Loves You Honey. I find that strange that that would be seen as R&B because it was a country and western reggae. So I don't know how that would be on the R&B chart, but I'll accept it. That's
Yeah.
great.
You've been signed to BMG, Ras, Greensleeves, VP, Tommy Boy, Warner Records, Sanctuary, Irawa,
Ariwa.
Ariwa, Universal through Mercury, Jetstar, Sanctuary, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Over 10 record labels you've signed. Did you make a lot of money from these labels?
No, not a lot of money, but in terms of sometimes we were given enough to create the product. That's mainly what the advance was used for, to create a quality product. You know, we hired the best musicians, the best studios, and, you know, we didn't stint on that. And then, of course, if there's something left over, then that's what we live on, because at that time we were full-time music, you know, that was our livelihood. But I wouldn't say we've made a lot of money from music. And nowadays it's mostly live performances that we can earn from. It's not sales so much, you know?
Did you ever have any problems, issues getting money from the labels, recouping publishing royalties?
Yeah, especially Jamaican ones, yes. Yeah.
Many of your even Clive Hunt, who you're on this project with him, he told
Yes.
of having problems with Joe Gibbs and
Yes.
other producers. Alfie and Donna told me about having problems with Joe Gibbs for their hit Uptown Ranking.
Yes.
Collected $1.
Mm.
Do you have any stories? Tell me a story, any story you have, not just Joe Gibbs or whoever, but any story you have that is still unresolved for uncollected royalties.
Well, that's the main story right there, Joe Gibbs, you know. That's just really unfortunate because that was our start in the industry, and it could have been a wonderful thing for everybody involved, all the musicians, you know, that worked on that project. I don't know what they saw off of it. I don't know if any of them got paid for it, never mind royalties, you know. So that's a big issue right there. And even Joe Gibbs himself suffered in the end because he had to close down his business because he got sued because he claimed to be the writer, you know. So
Someone Loves
I'd
You
say,
Honey.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so everybody got affected by that.
Did you get affected? Did it affect
Of course. Of course.
We never got any royalties.
Yes, we didn't get royalties from him.
But did it affect you in terms of how you were able to leverage and negotiate deals going forward?
Well, yes, because that's sort of you know, you got thwarted with that. That should have been something that was a platform to build on, and instead of us being able to build, we were like stumped. You know, you didn't have any earnings from that to reinvest to move forward. But fortunately, we had met Willie Lindo on the project with Joe, so we were able to, you know, form a relationship with him, musical relationship, and we worked on another project with him sometime after the Someone Loves You Honey album, you know, and that's how we were able to move on. Then after Willie, we moved on to Gussie Clarke, and then we started doing our own production through Ras Records. And as you mentioned, we worked with Mad Professor from Ariwa. We did that album for Tommy Boy. And then when we relocated to the UK, we worked with Danny Ray, who's a great producer, He was here. He's gone back to Jamaica, but he was with Jetstar, and we did 2 projects with him. So we've continued to work because that's what we want to do. That's what we're here for, and we try not to make obstacles. You know, they are a setback in some way, but we try to overcome them and just carry on.
Yeah. What advice would you give to young girls coming up in the business?
Well, when you say the business, you mean reggae business?
No, the music business, but yeah.
Oh, the music business. Well, I can really only speak about the reggae business because that's what I'm in. And I would say that reggae is still a very appealing music worldwide. So there are definitely people that love it. But the problem with reggae is to be heard, you know, and in the territory that I'm in right now in the UK, it's very difficult to make any breakthrough here because the major radio stations don't play reggae. If they do, they'll touch on a Bob or a Jimmy, something like that, but they don't play most reggae. So things like that are a hindrance to moving forward. You know, in order to create a good live show, you need to have music that's been heard by people so that when they're at the show, they can enjoy it and, you know, recognize, oh, yes, I love this one. Yes, I love that one. And if people haven't been playing your material, it makes it harder to come across, you know, live and develop as an artist. So I would say to young women trying to come into the business that they have to be prepared that it is a fight, that they will need to have a very tight nucleus of people around them that know how to market them, because creating a product is one thing. Creating a good quality product, yes, is key, but you have to be able to market it as well, promote it. How are you going to get people to hear your product, you know? And if you can't do that, then it becomes very, very frustrating and difficult. So it's not an easy thing to get into.
Yeah. Good message. Good message. Did you ever meet Bob Marley? Or that was just as you were coming in?
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Say that again, please.
Did you ever meet Bob Marley?
No, unfortunately, I didn't, because we started in 1980 and he passed away in 1981, I believe. So, but we did hear through, who was it that told us? Oh, Tyrone Downey, who we used to work with, told us that Bob said that he had heard me to Tyrone, and he said that he thought I had a lot of potential and that I would go far. So I hold on to that little nugget, but I never got to meet him personally.
Yeah. Tell me about the new song on the album with Clive Hunt.
So Clive is an exciting person to work with because he's got a very good ear for music. I find that whatever he works on always has a fresh sound, you know. And we were quite happy when Allah recently, the same person I mentioned that kind of got us into the business in the first place, contacted us and said, oh, Clive has a new rhythm, you know. He wants you to write something on it. I thought, wow, this is great. So we heard the rhythm and it was right up my street, you know, and I was happy to work on it. And we are excited for what can come out of it. You know, we've heard Maxi Priests, we've heard George Nooks, and both of those tracks sound strong. And so I think that the whole package, each one should help the other, you know?
Yep. And you've worked with Maxi Priest and, well, obviously George Nooks. You work with Maxi Priest, right?
I've done harmonies on several of his projects, yes.
Okay. And this is like the fourth time you're working with Clive, right? Because he was working on Someone Love You Honey as well.
Yes, he played piano, I believe, on Someone Loves You Honey.
Yeah.
And then we had him when we were doing our own productions for RAS. We had Clive on board to work with us at that time when we were doing the RAS projects.
He said that he's the one that gave you your name, JC Lodge.
Yeah, he does say that.
Is that true?
I don't remember the details like that. I just know very strongly that I never liked my given names, so that I would never have sung under my given names. That was a no-go. So whether he may have said to me, oh, why don't you use JC? I don't know. I don't have a memory of that. But I do remember when Joe Gibbs said to me, "What would you like to be known as? What shall I put you down as on your record?" I distinctly said to him, J.C. Lodge. And he made a note of it. But somehow my first project came out with that name. And then by the time the tune went to the Netherlands and the album, they ended up putting June Lodge on it. And it's the only project that has that name on it because they made a mistake.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go. Give me your top 5 favorite artists of all time and your top 5 songs.
Wow. That's something I'd have to think about because there's just so much music in the
Clock is
world.
ticking. 1. Just say it off the top of your head.
Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind and Fire, Ella Fitzgerald, Bob Marley, Third World. I don't know.
5. Good. 5 songs.
5 songs? No, I can't do 5 songs.
Pick one. Quick. Clock ticking.
I can't pick 5 songs. I've got too. I can't do that.
Give me one. Give me one.
You love
Oh, I don't know. My Sharia Moore. I'm just naming it. There are
5
too many.
songs that inspire you. You must have 5 songs that inspire you.
Inspire me. There's hundreds, thousands. So I can't name 5. It's just my head is spinning when you ask me that question.
That's the purpose of the question. Just give me 5.
Yeah, but there's just so much music out there. I love Sade as well. So any one of hers.
She's off the list. She didn't make your top 5.
Well, she should have. Come name some songs for me. Concrete Jungle.
This is going to be on a list, by the way, so make sure you're picking right.
Well, give me time and let me get back to you with it.
No,
please.
the time is now. You got to say it quick. It's the purpose of it. It's a quick time question. Concrete Jungle.
Yeah. 96 Degrees in the Shade.
Good.
Reasons.
Who's that?
Earth, Wind and Fire. What do you mean, who's that?
I'm young.
When were you born?
4.
Who
Oh,
else have I named?
that's
Huh?
Reasons as in the reason.
Yeah. That's it.
I know that song. You have 2 more. So number 4.
Noise of my mama. Give me a Delphonic song. I mean, come on. This is really impossible.
Got too much music.
It'll be easy. You must have 5 songs in your head.
No, it's not
Got a
easy.
million
I've got
songs.
too many songs crawling all over each other and I can't think clearly on the spot like this. If you gave me just an hour, I could tell you, but I can't think of it
All right,
now.
you got 3. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Alrighty. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is World Music View.
Yeah. Okay,
Alright.
but if it's not live, why can't I text you after this and give you the other 2?
Because you got to say it on camera.
Uh...
Alrighty.